Hi everyone, thanks for coming this afternoon. It's good to see you all. My name is not Sally Magnan. Sally Magnan was supposed to be giving this talk this afternoon. My name is Diana Murphy. I'm the Associate Director of the Language Institute. Sally Magnan is stuck in Texas. She was stuck because of Hurricane Ike, so you got me instead. My second language is Russian. Quickly, can you tell me what languages you're studying? How about who here is studying Spanish? Say something in Spanish if you're studying Spanish. Hola. Who here is studying French? Say something in French. Who here is studying Italian? Say something in Italian. Okay. I couldn't quite hear you. What are some other languages you're studying?
Chinese.
Chinese? Great. Can you say something in Chinese? Nice. What other languages? Russian. Say something in Russian? Здравствуйте. Any other languages? Yeah.
Turkish.
Turkish. Cool. What can you say in Turkish?
Bilmiyorum.
Okay. What does that mean?
I don't understand.
Good to know. Good to know. Any other languages that you're studying? They mentioned the African languages.
Arabic.
Arabic. Great. Can you teach us something in Arabic?
My name is going to be Anesmi, so Anesmi Dane.
Anesmi Dane. Okay, so that would say your name. All right, so I would say Anesmi Diana. Great. Anesmi Diana. Good. Anesmi Diana. I just learned some Arabic. Great. So we're here this afternoon to talk about language learning strategies, how you can be a better language learner and how you can do better in your language courses. I thought we'd start by talking about, first, what language learning strategies are. They're defined in the research a couple of different ways. They're conscious or semi-conscious thoughts or attitudes, or I guess feelings, that are intended to make you a better language learner, so to enhance your language learning, or to enhance your use of the target language. We use the phrase that target language to mean the language that you're studying. So strategies are things that you either think or things that you do to be a better learner of a language. The second definition is pretty similar to the first. So what are some things that you all do for Arabic and Chinese and Spanish and French and Turkish, the languages that you're studying? What are some of the things that you do, some strategies that you use that you're aware of? Because you have to be conscious of something for it to be a strategy. It can't just be like an automatic something you do. What are some strategies that you currently employ in your language courses to do well or to learn better? To learn well. What do you guys do? Are you conscious of anything that you do?
Flashcards.
Use flashcards. Okay, what do you use flashcards to do? To learn characters. Is that for Chinese? Okay. So you use flashcards you could use that for characters, for letters, or for, say, vocabulary. That would be What are some other things that the rest of you do that you're aware of?
Try and use the language all the time outside of class, whether it's talking with friends or like listen to music or movies in that language.
So use the language outside of class with native speakers of the language, or just with?
Yeah, if you can find some, if not with other friends who are pretty advanced or trying to learn it as well.
Okay, so talk with other students. Or you also said listen
to music and movies in that language.
Okay. Okay. What are some other things that you do?
Practice every day.
Practice every day. Good. Daily practice. Okay. Other things? Yeah.
Related to something in your first language, like English, that helps you remember the foreign word or phrase better.
to make mental associations with things that you know from your native language, your first language. Okay, and that could go for, say, learning vocabulary or grammar or whatever. Making conscious associations. Okay, other things? Okay, that's a good start. I actually admit I'm a pretty unconscious person. I found out when I first started learning about learning strategies. Personally, I had no idea what I was doing as a language learner. I just kind of went to class, kept doing the things that I had always been doing, sort of did okay. But there are things that you can do consciously to help you improve how you're learning and how you're doing in your courses. Language learning strategies are often categorized according to three main types. The first type are what we call metacognitive strategies. Do you guys know what metacognitive means? Like meta, sort of on top of, it's awareness of yourself as a learner. So metacognitive strategies are things that you do to plan your own learning, to monitor how you're doing, and to check in with yourself on how things are going. So metacognitive strategies require a certain level of self-awareness and monitoring, sort of staying on top of how you're doing, sort of constantly checking back on, did this work, did that work? Actually, that's the evaluating part. So those are metacognitive strategies. None of the things that you mentioned, to me, seem like they're metacognitive strategies. We'll talk a little bit more about some of the things you can do in this area. There are a group of strategies called affective strategies, which have to do with how you, here I put regulate your emotions or your feelings, your motivation and your attitude. So I don't know if this is true for you, but when I first started learning Russian, I would get really, really nervous when I would speak with a native speaker, like really nervous. And I'd be afraid of making mistakes, and I'd be like hyper aware of like, okay, is this like the right form or is it not the right form? I did a really lousy job with this like affective strategy area because I let myself just get really like anxious and I'd like kind of freeze up. So there are things that you can do in the area of your how you're sort of emotionally, without getting like too touchy-feely about things, regulating yourself so that you can be a better learner and so that you can use the language more effectively. And then finally, there are a group of strategies that are called cognitive strategies. And the cognitive strategies are the ones that you mentioned here, things like making associations, that's to learn the language, using flashcards, using the language outside of class. These are in the area of cognitive strategies. So we'll talk more about these three types this afternoon. Whoops, I keep wanting to go over to this computer, but I'm going to this computer. So to be aware of yourself as a language learner, you need to start with understanding or having a reason, a goal for studying the language. So what are your goals for learning a language? Do you have goals? What are your goals for learning a language? Yeah.
Become fluent enough to use it in business.
To become fluent enough to use it, like in your work. Okay, great.
It's a degree requirement.
Degree requirement. Uh-huh. What are some other goals that you have? Yeah?
So you have a barrier when you're interacting with
So to be able to interact with someone who's a speaker of that language in their language, on their terms. Okay, without a barrier between. Good. What are some of your other goals? Yeah.
3-4 newspapers.
Okay, to be able to read material in the target language. Great. So I would suggest one thing that I'll be asking you to do, and not collectively as a group here, but you on your own following up, is to think about, why are you studying a language? There can be reasons such as, I gotta take it, it's a requirement for the degree, or I need it for my major. But there are also sort of higher level goals that you might consider. You want to be able to speak it well enough to be able to use it professionally, or to be able to interact effectively with native speakers. The goals that you have will inform the strategies that you'll decide to use in your learning. In the Language Institute, we've done a fair amount of research looking into student goals and reasons for studying a language. Some of you might have participated in a research project that we did last fall, in which we asked students of first semester languages at UW-Madison to respond to a list of goal statements. These are goals that the language teaching profession has, that we have for you as our students. And we wanted to look at what students say their goals are. The top goals, I'll just go through some of that are at the very top. So these are students who said that yes, these statements reflect personal goals for them. Students want to be able to engage in conversations, provide and obtain information, express feelings and emotions, and exchange opinions. So that gets to what you're saying. You want to be able to talk, to interact with people orally. So if this is a goal for you, you've already zoomed in on learning a language is a big task on a pretty specific area. You want to be able to speak in conversation effectively and appropriately. The second one gets at your goal of reading a newspaper. It's understand and interpret written and spoken language on a variety of topics. And the third is use the language both within and beyond the school setting. So my point in showing you this is we had over 1,600 students respond, is you need to start with your goals before you formulate the strategies that you're going to try out. Oops, just dropped my chalk. In terms of how you're going to approach the particular course that you're enrolled in, I think it's helpful to consider why you're taking that course. And that gets at maybe it's just to meet a degree requirement, in which case maybe you're just concerned with getting a good grade and you want to figure out what you need to do to get a good grade. I hope that you're taking the course for reasons other than just a grade or to meet a requirement, but for some students, that is the reason. This chart shows results from a survey that we did a couple of years ago against students enrolled in first semester language courses, and we asked what your primary motivation is for taking the language course. The largest percentage of students said that they were interested because of personal interest, enjoyment, and curiosity. If this is why you're taking a course, it's really important for you to figure out what it is about the language that's interesting to you, or the culture that's interesting to you, and to pursue that interest yourself. So to go from your own personal interest, not necessarily what's offered in the course, but to pursue what is personally sort of relevant to you. You can see that the second largest percentage is meeting a degree requirement.